My name is Tom. Some of you might know me as Bowl of Salmon on Instagram, and today we're gonna have a look at the Doxa SUB600T. Well, maybe I should start with why I bought this watch. I had my eyes on the Doxa for a while now, but I never wanted to justify the cost to get a Sub 300 just because I felt curious. So when they released the SUB600T last year, well, you know the result. Doxa is a brand that has been around for a while now. It has great history, but I had to Google all that too, so I'm not even gonna pretend to be an expert. After all, you are just here to look at some cinematic footage, and by this time, you are wondering what's keeping it this long. After the success of the Time and Tide limited edition titanium version last summer, Doxa released the steel SUB600T at the end of last year. It comes in 6 dial colors, each with the option to choose between a ceramic or steel bezel insert. And you can choose between the bracelet or the FKM rubber strap version. That's a whopping 24 variations. Yes, 24. So I opted for the orange dial. That is what Doxa calls the professional model. If you ask the fanboys, a Doxa should be orange. I actually like the Caribbean or Shark Hunter with a ceramic bezel better, but I followed the results of an Instagram poll. I know. But maybe I also wanted something different in the collection. A pop of color on the wrist. On top of that, orange gives you the best legibility underwater. A bonus when timing how long you can hold your breath in the bathtub. Now me and that dial color, it wasn't love at first sight. After having resized the bracelet to my wrist and trying it on for the first time, that feeling didn't immediately improve either. But we are more than a month in with the watch, I haven't sold it yet. That must be a record to some Instagrammers I know. Before we continue with my unbiased opinion about this watch, let's have a closer look at it. First, some specs. See, I am trying to add some value to this video. We are looking at a stainless steel case with a diameter of 40mm and a lug-to-lug of 47.6mm. It's pretty perfect for my 16.5mm wrist. Now the case height, that probably will have people frowning a bit. And it is quite hefty too. The water resistance might have something to do with it. This one has a water resistance of a whopping 600 meters. The watch features an automatic Swiss movement with a power reserve of 38 hours. The movement is not the star of this watch, but it is probably responsible for why this watch is possible at this price point. The look of the bracelet is probably a personal thing, but I really feel that this tree-link design works wonderfully well with this already aggressive looking case shape. The links are very fluid and mold to the wrist perfectly. So the bracelet is actually very comfortable on the wrist. The bracelet has a rather chunky folding clasp that feels very tight to open or close. There is a wetsuit extension and a bunch of micro adjustments exist to get the perfect fit. The watch sits rather high on the wrist, so due to the weight and the balance of the watch, finding a proper fit is crucial in how this watch will feel on your wrist. Now if you can't find a proper fit with the bracelet or FKM rubber isn't your thing, this watch also looks really good on a NATO. The SUB600T is a reissue of the SUB600 that Doxa released in the 80s. For this line they dropped their famous cushion design and they went for an angular case design with the crown at 4 o'clock. The finishing on the case is mainly brushed, with only the chamfered edges polished, ever so slightly refining the aggressive vintage look. The aggressive style of the case continues on the 120 click, rotating, sawtooth, sandblasted steel bezel. This unidirectional dive bezel has 2 scales. One, a 60-minute scale, the other, a US Navy no decompression scale. Regardless of the color you choose, the asymmetrical layout on the dial does stand out. We find the brand name lettering at the 10 o'clock position and the model name and version at 4 o'clock. All the colors have a white date window at 3 o'clock. Around the dial at 3, 6 and 9 we find shark tooth shaped indices. Around the rest of the dial we found the circular plots all coated with superluminova. On the professional model the hands all have a polished black finish. Maybe I didn't kick it off with this watch right away, but as soon as I went outside with it I couldn't help but smile when I saw the orange dial on my wrist. It's so different than the other watches in my collection, and that's what I like about it so much. Make no mistake about it, this is a beefy watch. The build quality lives up to the looks. This thing is built like a tank. The watch might sit a bit too top heavy for my liking, so stability can be an issue, but if you find a proper fit, it's a very cool watch to wear. The fact that it can take straps and that it looks so good on NATO also helped me towards liking this watch even more. Thus far the beater watch in my collection was the SPB143, and I spent a full hot summer enjoying that one on my travels and skin diving in Greece. The question I asked myself was, could I have done 30 consecutive days with this watch instead? Well, maybe not. I'm pretty sure I would have gotten some pretty cool shots, but this is not an all-round watch. See, this Doxa isn't supposed to be my daily watch, so I'm forgiving in my opinion towards it. Did this watch scratch my Doxa itch? Hell yes. It's a perfect watch as an entry into the brand. And until some other different looking watch comes along, this one won't be leaving the collection soon. As always, thanks for sticking around. Likes and subscribes are highly appreciated. If you have any questions, come find me on Instagram, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.